Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Red with only Mankey was a fun and quick solo run. Let's follow that up with another powerful Pokemon with a terrible ability. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon Platinum with a team of only Slaking? Alright, you know the drill when it comes to Slaking, right? We have absolutely amazing stats. Better than most legendaries. Stats-wise, we are easily a top 10 Pokemon of all time, but the problem is that we have a horrible ability in Truant, where every other turn, we do nothing at all. That means that in every single trainer battle where they have multiple Pokemon, even if we could one-shot sweep them, we still constantly give them chances to do their moves. Status afflictions are double as bad too because of all the wasted time. It's rough. By level up, we learned a few solid moves like Slack Off to stay healthy and Feint Attack to never miss, but nothing too amazing. Slack Off isn't even quite as good as it sounds because we give them so many extra turns to hit us, so we have a hard time capitalizing after healing. By TM, our type coverage opens up a ton, although we're still for sure a better physical attacker than we are a special attacker, so some of these moves aren't as appealing as you might think. Giga Impact and Hyper Beam actually don't have any drawback because of our ability, but Giga Impact is especially annoying to get in Platinum, so I'm not sure if we'll ever get it. Even with the raw power of moves like Return and Earthquake, we're attacking half as often, so we're giving them a lot of chances to find counters to us. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I'm actually really skeptical about this one. Not only are there a lot of required trainer fights with strong fighting type moves in this game, but the AI is a lot better than in the previous games too. I could actually see them effectively stalling us out with Protect and Detect this time. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Slaking. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Turtwig with Slaking so that we can do the whole run with it. I picked to replace Turtwig so our rival would have Infernape, probably the hardest for us to fight. I name him King Mabel, like last time. Our nature is Brave, so more attack and less speed. Now, the speed loss might be a little bit rough, but with how high our base speed is in the first place, I figure we'll still be faster than most of what we fight. Really, what I care about is that extra attack. That should be really nice. Okay, so we've got a lot of early game travel, and I'm kind of worried about the first gym. Yeah, we could get the Rock Smash TM and probably win easily, but do we want that? If we use Rock Smash, then we're stuck with it until we beat 5 gyms in a Cyrus fight. On the other hand, all we have to do is beat the second gym and the local Commander Jupiter fight to get a bike, then we can get the TM for Brick Break, and that's a much better fighting type move. So it's hard to say. Who knows, maybe our super high attack will help us pull through, and we could just brute force the Rock Gym with Scratch and out-heal them with Slack Off. But we won't know till we get there. I really don't think it'll be enough, though. I might have to bite the bullet and learn Rock Smash. I just hate that it'll have us stuck with a pretty weak move for about half the run. Okay, so the first major fight is our rival, and this is kind of a funny one. Starly got one Growl on us, so although it went down fast, Chimchar was taking forever. It actually got all 6 Leers in on us, but still could barely hurt us at all with Scratch, so we took it down without any real problem. I'm gonna fight absolutely everything I can between here and the Rock Gym, though. We're gonna need the experience for sure. Next is the Rock Gym, and I grinded up to level 15 before going in. First was Geodude, and we obviously weren't doing much damage, but neither was he. It was just a slow back and forth chip battle, but thankfully, he wasn't using any buffs, so it wasn't like it's in Gen 1, where they only get harder and harder to deal damage. We took it out after not too long. The Onix after went much worse, because it kept using Screech to ruin our defenses. It still couldn't hit us all that hard with Rock Throw, even after our defense dropped 6 stages, and we could just heal up. But the fight took so incredibly long that he actually ran out of rock throws and started spamming Stealth Rock by the time we took him out. Because of that, we could easily fully heal up with Slack Off before finishing him off. Problem is, Cranidos is last, and it's a beast. We hit it pretty hard, but his insane attack coupled with our now horrible defense meant that we were just a 2-shot. Alright, well, we get Feint Attack at level 19. I bet if we just learned that, then we could overpower these guys. It'll take them out a lot faster than it was Scratch, that's for sure. It's at least worth a try. So I try again at level 19, and although Geodude and Onix are way quicker to take out, we still get hit with Screech a lot because of our Truant ability. It gives them so many chances to hit us. Because of that, we lost 4 stages of defense, and Cranidos can still easily take us out. This is really not good. Maybe if I could try a few times, then I could get Onix to only hit us with 1 Screech, then I think we could stand a chance. Alright, very next try, and Onix only used 1 Screech before switching to Rock Throws, so we got past it with more defense. Because of that, Cranidos used Leer instead of Headbutt, giving us our opening to attack and take it out with a single feint attack. That's perfect. We didn't have to worry about getting Rock Smash. Alright, next up is Commander Mars in the Grass Gym. I could see the Grass Gym being hard because of Leech Seed being a nightmare, especially since our high health means that they heal a lot from Leech Seed. Mars probably won't be too bad though. Yeah, she has Zubat with Toxic, and we waste extra turns, so Toxic is super dangerous, but we might one-shot Zubat before it can use it. I doubt Perugly is going to be a problem, so I think it'll be easy. I'm just worried about the Grass Gym. The nice thing is, once we beat the Grass Gym and the Galactic base after it, we can get some new moves, and I'm pretty pumped for that. I want to grab Brick Break and Earthquake. I don't think I'll be learning both of them right away, but later on they might really save us. Let's see how those fights go. Okay, so Mars was basically an instant win, but it was still interesting because I learned something that I don't think I knew. If you get hit by Fake Out on the same turn that Truant is making you do nothing, you don't flinch. I kind of thought that we'd flinch anyway and end up loafing around the next turn instead, but we didn't. It's not exactly the most useful info in the world, but it was kind of cool to learn. Alright, so first up is Turtwig, and we nearly one-shot it, but it survives, uses Reflect, then heals up, so we take a lot more hits to take it out. It hurt us a bunch with Grass Knot because of that, a move that does damage based on weight, so it's actually really strong against us. Cherrim is next, and we actually got lucky in this fight. It hit us a lot because we had to heal up over and over, but we lucked out because it missed its only Leech Seed attempt before we took it out. Last is Roserade, but it hit really hard with Grass Knot and even paralyzed us early, so we couldn't really fight back. It's a frustrating fight, but I think that if I level up a few times, we could one-shot the Turtwig and get into the rest of the battle with more health. Well, this is a nightmare fight. After 7 entire tries at level 30, where we kept getting hit by Leech Seed, we got this run where we did exactly enough damage to finally get a 2-shot on Cherrim, so it didn't end up seeding us. Problem is, the moment that we got to Roserade, we actually got paralyzed and lost our only attacking turn, so we ended up accomplishing nothing. I think I actually just have to level up more. At least if we can consistently beat Cherrim without getting seeded, then it won't take as many tries to get to Roserade. Once we can easily get to Roserade, then it won't be so bad to just keep trying until Stun Spore doesn't ruin us. Hey, check it out! As soon as we went to grind, we found a shiny Bidoof. I actually caught it right away too, so that's kinda cool. I mean, I'm just making it into an HM Pokemon, but still, it's cool that I caught it. It's a shame that it's almost the exact same as a non-shiny one. You really can't tell the difference. I think this is the first shiny I've run into in over a year now that I think about it. It's a Christmas miracle. I'm recording this 3 days before Christmas, for the record, so it is 2024. I know this will air in 2025, though. Alright, level 32, and Turtwig is still a one-shot, of course. Cherrim still isn't a one-shot on the first hit, but then it healed, and we took it out, so at least it's something. Last is Roserade, and we got paralyzed again, but at least we got a hit into one-shot at this time. That's finally a win. After that is Commander Jupiter. Her team wasn't that bad, but we got paralyzed pretty early on and took a ton of damage from it. Poison is basically twice as strong against Slaking because we waste extra turns. Most status conditions are twice as bad for us, actually. For Paralysis, if we miss a turn, it's extra punishing because it means we'll have done nothing for 3 turns in a row. Any damage over time will be doing double the damage over the course of the fight, and Sleep is just always horrible. Alright, now I'm not actually too worried about the next bit of the run. Normally I would be due to the Ghost Gym being a problem, but I really doubt it will be this time. We're just gonna sweep them with Feint Attack. Shouldn't be a problem. The Rival After, I don't know, because I just don't know how hard their fighting moves are gonna hit. And Endeavor could cause us problems considering we're going to give them a free attack whenever we loaf around. Still, it might not be too bad. It's actually the fighting gym after that I'm really worried about. I can pick up the team for Aerial Ace if I go past the city a little ways, and I think I'm going to. It's not exactly an auto-win with that though, because we still give them chances to hit us when they switch into new Pokemon, and flying isn't super effective against Lucario. I guess I could learn Earthquake or Brick Break for Lucario, but then I'm deleting a lot of moves just for one fight, and I'm not sure if I should be doing that. I think I'll give it a try once I get there and just see what happens. First though, let's go squash that Ghost Gym. Yeah, that's what I thought. We didn't even get hit in the Ghost Gym. It was a total sweep. They didn't stand a chance. Let's go take out our rival, get that Aerial Ace TM, then see if the fighting gym is a nightmare that I worry it might be. So remember when I was worried about Endeavor? Yeah, it dropped us to literally 1 health instantly. Look, I'm just gonna try a few times and see if I can get a one-shot. If we got dropped to 1 health, then that means he did too, and I'm sure we could one-shot him on some attempts. Okay, so after a few tries, I couldn't get a one-shot, so I just used Yawn instead, and that did the trick. He stayed asleep for a while, and we finished him off. The entire rest of his team was a total squash, and now that we have a Shell Bell, we even heal a little bit as we fight. It's not as good as Leftovers, but it's better than nothing. I figure a Silk Scarf might be better in the long run, though. Hey, you ready to lose to that fighting gym? So first was Meditite, and it instantly cheap shots us with Fake Out to flinch us, making us lose our first 2 turns. We still got a one-shot with Aerial Ace after, so it hardly ended up hurting us. Second is Machoke, who used Rock Tomb. Considering Meditite got us with that too, our speed is actually kinda low by the time we took Machoke out. Last is Lucario, and we're actually slower thanks to those speed drops, but thankfully, his Drain Punches and Force Palms weren't hitting too hard. He wasn't a one-shot, but we never got paralyzed, so we actually managed to take him out in 2 hits with a bit of health left. That was a first try. I guess we have to go fight our rival in the water gym then. Alright, so even after 8 tries, we lose to our rival right away every time. The problem is that all of our moves bring Staravia to low health, so he just hits Endeavor to bring us down to just as low of health. That means as soon as we finish him off, my Inferno can just Mach Punch us every time. I feel like it would take quite a few levels before we could one-shot Staravia, so I think our best move here is to finally replace Cuffit with Return. We could have done this a long time ago since our friendship is maxed out, but I wanted to hold off until I felt like we needed it. Well, if I'm choosing between leveling up more than 5 times and learning Return, then learning Return is probably the more interesting choice, so let's do that. Okay, getting Return totally fixed the problem and made most of the fight an afterthought. We have no problem at all dealing with it this time. I figure Return will do great in the water gym too, so let's give that a try. First is Water Onyx, so our attack is down from Intimidate. Because of that, he wasn't a one-shot. He did a little bit of damage with Waterfall, but obviously he had a chance to Hyper Potion since we had our Truant turn. We brought him back to red health, he hit 2 Waterfalls with one being a crit, so we had to heal back up with Slack Off, then we finished him off with Return soon after. Floatzel took us down to below half health, but we one-shot him, and last is Quagsire, who is thankfully doing almost no damage. We healed back up with Slack Off, took a few hits with stuff like Rock Tomb and Mud Shot to ruin our speed, but did great damage with Return. He kept healing with Hyper Potions, but between the Shell Bell healing us and him not doing much damage, we still took him out with plenty of health to spare. Okay, so we've got a few major fights coming up, and I could see this being kind of hard. The first Cyrus fight should be easy. We have a rival fight that might be difficult since our rival starter will be fully evolved now, and the Steel Gym where I might have to learn a new move, not totally sure. I might want Earthquake for that fight, but I want to try Brick Break first and see how that goes. Really, it's the rival fight that I think could be a loss. We give them a free hit on us every time that they send in a new Pokemon after the first one is taken out, so I figure the damage could really build up as soon as they're throwing some real fighting moves our way, but we'll see. I grabbed the TM for Shadow Ball on the way through, by the way. We're not great with it, but I figure there's a chance we could use it later in the run. I don't know. As expected, Cyrus was no problem at all. He's just too weak this early on to do anything serious to us without having a type advantage. I'm more worried about the upcoming rival fight. First is Staraptor, who is thankfully a one-shot, so we didn't have to deal with Endeavor this time, but next is Heracross, who hits a Brick Break while we were Truant. It really didn't do as much damage as I was expecting though, so we were able to take him out in return. Infernape was next, and it also hit a Brick Break, so our health was around half as we hit Aerial Ace. I didn't one-shot him though, so he kept laying it in with Brick Break. We were just above red health as we took him out. Next is Floatzel, who hit Pursuit. Thankfully, it's super weak, so we survived and were able to slack off right after. Seemed like it was doing almost nothing with any of his attacks, so I just kept healing until we were full, and then used Return to one-shot him. Last is Roserade, who scattered some Toxic Spikes, but got one-shot by Aerial Ace. Not bad! We had a close call with Infernape, but he didn't have any strong moves to finish us off afterwards. Last is the Steel Gym, and it starts great with Magneton being a one-shot with our new Brick Break. Second is Steelix, and although it didn't hurt us too much, it did start a Sandstorm, so we're taking some chip damage over time. We still took it down reasonably fast. Last is Bastiodon, and this thing is a crazy tanky Pokemon, who started off by spamming Iron Defense to be even harder to take down, but our Brick Break is still doing fantastic damage thanks to the double type advantage. It still took 3 hits to take down, probably the most hits of any Pokemon since we got our better moves, but it's not so bad. Still, it just goes to show how tanky it is that he didn't go down to the second Brick Break from a Slaking. So we have to travel north now to the Ice Gym, and you never quite know how this one's gonna go. Between there being a non-stop hail for most of the fight, and our Frostlass being super dangerous, I could see this being a loss for quite a while. I might actually need to grind for the first time in a while. I figure Brick Break could sweep a lot of them, but we don't actually currently have any super effective moves against Frostlass. For once, we don't need to worry about her dodging because of our Aerial Ace, but if I really wanted to do damage, then switching to something like Shadow Ball or even using the move relearner to get Feint Attack back could be the right move. I think I'll try now and just see how it goes. If Aerial Ace can two-shot it, then I think we'll be fine. So first up at the Ice Gym is Sneasel, who we obviously one-shot, but second is Abomasnow, so there's Hail the entire fight. Not only that, but it's got Focus Blast, so we take a good chunk of damage early. We're already down 100 health. Our Brick Break is at least a one-shot, and the Shell Bell gets us a little bit of health back. Frostlass is next, and we don't need to worry about its double team spam because of Aerial Ace, so I decided to heal early with Slack Off. Problem is, sometimes she uses Blizzard, and she can't miss since it's hailing. 2 hits would take her out, but it didn't matter. We ended up going down to some Blizzards. Sometimes she uses Double Team more, though. I think maybe I just need better luck with her move choice. I'm gonna get a couple of levels just in case and keep trying. Next try, 2 levels higher, and we just one-shot Sneasel again, and Abomasnow goes the same way, hitting a Focus Blast before we one-shot it with Brick Break. We're back to Frostlass, and this time she's just using Double Team a lot more. Because of that, we take her out with 60 health to spare, although the Shell Bell healed us to 69, and the Hail knocked us back to 53. Piloswine then avalanched us down, and the Hail brought us to only 16 health as we hit Brick Break to one-shot it and win the fight. That was insanely close. Alright, we're getting to that weird part of the run where we have 2 Cyrus fights nearly back-to-back. Usually the first one isn't too bad, but the second one we end up getting really stuck on about half the time. I figure it won't be too horrible this time unless we get burned. If we get burned, then who knows how it's gonna go. We can get some good TMs on our way there like Rock Slide and Ice Beam, but it's really hard to justify replacing moves at the moment, knowing that we can't easily get them back if we need them later. There's also that double battle that won't be hard, but it's slow on a good day. With how we have Truant, it might be a record-long double battle. I'm just hoping that we don't get stuck on the second Cyrus fight. I figure the Electric Gym after probably won't be too horrible. I could always learn Earthquake if it's too much of a problem. I figure we could afford to learn Earthquake if we needed to. It'll still be good against a good chunk of the Elite Forest Pokemon after all. Wish me luck. Okay, the first Cyrus fight of this little boss rush went super well. He hardly hurt us at all, and we just one-shot our way through with Return. He doesn't really have anything to shut down a super powerful normal type attack. Hey, speaking of, do you think I'll even need to get Giga Impact by the end of the run? I'll at least buy it if I can afford it. I figure there's no reason not to have it in the back pocket. But with how much damage we deal, one-shotting with normal moves is not really the problem. I feel like if we're not one-shotting with Return, it's just because it's not the right type for that Pokemon. Wow, the double battle was actually a really close one. Thanks to our Brick Break, we didn't have to worry too much about Reflect, and our partner's Munchlax fainting early for sure helped us, but between me being a bit reckless and getting burned kind of early in the fight, we came incredibly close to fainting. We would have fainted on the last turn if not for our rival hitting Flame Wheel to finish off the last Golbat. I can't believe how close that came, considering it's a normally easy but slow fight. At the last Cyrus fight, we opened by one-shotting Houndoom with Brick Break before it could burn us, and second is Honchkrow, who hits a weak Drill Peck before we one-shot it with Return. Water Onyx lowers our attack and hits a weak Waterfall, but it's not quite a one-shot, so he full restores as we were doing nothing. Because of that, we got to hit more Waterfalls, but that's okay. Eventually, he crit Giga Impact on us, so we had to heal back up, then finish him off with a good chunk of our health left. Crobat was next, and it was of course faster, but we totally lucked out with him missing Toxic. If they had hit that, we'd be doomed. We ended up critting Return for a much needed one-shot. Last is Weavile, who hit Fake Out to do almost nothing, Ice Punch to do a bit more, then we landed Brick Break for a one-shot. It didn't look too bad, but really it's just because of Toxic missing. That could have gone much worse. Okay, last for the gyms is the Electric Gym. Right away, Jolteon is just a one-shot with Return, and second is Raichu, who hits Focus Blast for almost 100 damage. We one-shot it with Return, so next up is Electivire. Thunder Punch does alright damage to us, and we actually one-shot it with Return. I thought it'd be too tanky for that. Last is Luxray, who hit a Thunder Fang for a bit of damage before just being a one-shot. That was pretty easy. So we're at the final bit of travel, and we have that one final rival fight before the Elite Four, and I'm actually convinced we're gonna lose. Anytime we have to fight him with a normal type, it goes badly. He's just got so many great fighting type moves. I figure we'll have to grind up some levels before the Elite Four anyway, so it might not be that big of a deal, but our rival is gonna force us to grind up those levels early for sure. I don't see us beating him at this level without a ton of luck. So we get to the rival fight at level 67, and it starts well with Staraptor being a one-shot. Second is Heracross though, and right away he takes out over 100 of our health with close combat before we one-shot him. Infernape is next of course, and he ended up missing a Focus Blast, but we left him with red health off Aerial Ace, so the second one hit for insane damage. We ended up fainting right after. I mean that's rough, but we stand a chance. I'll top up to level 70 and keep trying. Couple tries later at level 70, Staraptor is still a one-shot, and Heracross still hits close combat before we one-shot him, although he does a bit less damage now. Infernape misses Focus Blast yet again, something I absolutely needed him to do, and we just one-shot him with Return. I'm using a Silk Scarf this time instead of a Shell Bell, so we're not healing, but it makes Return strong enough to easily get that one-shot that we need. Floatzel hits Brick Break, but it doesn't really hurt us that much, so we one-shot him. And next is Snorlax, who body slams us and paralyzes us. That's bad. Another body slam brings us to low health as we slack off to heal back up. He keeps body slamming and we start losing turns to paralysis, so we had to slack off yet again. We're just giving him too many free hits on us. Eventually, we hit a Brick Break to nearly one-shot him, but then he uses Rest. This is a nightmare. We lucked out though, and the next Return was a one-shot, so I guess it was in a damage range. Last is Roserade, but it wasn't doing a ton of damage and we weren't fully paralyzed, so we one-shot it with Return. If we lost a round to paralysis at the end, I think we would have lost. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our team. Well, our attack rocks and our speed isn't bad, but I really worry about having only 110 special defense. Stuff like Focus Blast could seriously mess us up, especially considering we waste so many turns. I could see us getting stuck on the Pokemon Champion for ages. I'd grab some better moves, but unfortunately Giga Impact requires 20,000 coins, so there's just no way I can afford it, or else I would absolutely be using it by now. We'll have to make do without it. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Bug Trainer Aaron. Yanmega was a one-shot with Aerial Ace right away, and second is Heracross, so we lose half of our health to close combat before we one-shot it as well. Vespiquen crits with attack order, so he took a ton of damage before one-shotting it, and fourth was Scizor, who hits Iron Head, but it doesn't really do much damage, so I decided to heal with Slack Off. It paid off big as I healed again to max out our health, as he kept doing pretty weak attacks. We hit Brick Break to nearly one-shot him, but not quite, so he full restored, and we had to keep hitting him. It was already a long fight, but I wanted to play it safe, so I healed another 2 times before actually taking him out. It took forever, but it was worth it. Last is Drapion, who hits Cross Poison for a bit of damage before we one-shot it in return. It wasn't that bad of a fight, but man, it was a long one. Second is Ground Trainer Bertha. First up is Whiscash, who's just hardly a one-shot with return, and second is Gliscor, who can hardly hurt us at all with Earthquake and is also just a one-shot. Things get harder as Hippowdon comes out, since she whips up a never-ending sandstorm and yawns right away, so we fall asleep after one-shotting her with return. Fourth is Golem, and we're asleep now, so we're taking big damage from earthquakes and sandstorms. I tried healing once I finally woke up, but it's just really hard to keep up with the damage that she's dealing. We ended up sitting there and healing for ages, just turn after turn slightly getting more health than we were losing. Eventually, I just went for Brick Break and took it out, although we still don't have great health. Last is Rhyperior, but we instantly lost most of our health to Earthquake in the sandstorm. We healed, but we're still getting hit so hard that we can hardly keep up and have to keep on healing. We actually ended up running out of slack-offs eventually, and I just had to use Brick Break, but thanks to Rhyperior's ability where super effective moves don't hurt as much as they should, we don't take it out and ended up fainting. What a long and brutal fight. I might be able to win with different tactics though. So I try again, this time with Earthquake. I tried to heal for even longer against Golem this time so that he'd have to run out of Earthquakes and we could heal more, but that just ended up getting us burned at the last minute to ruin the entire thing. You know what? Maybe I'll try healing against Hippowdon instead of Golem. Let's see if that goes any better. Okay, so I tried a bunch more times, and healing against Hippowdon just doesn't work. But on this try, I thought we stood a chance because I woke up super early. I used the advantage to take out Golem early, but it didn't matter. Earthquake was close to a one-shot on Rhyperior at the end, but it wasn't one. I think all I can do is level up a few times and beat them that way. It's really a shame. I thought we stood a chance. Okay, by level 75, we still lose if we sleep way too long off Yawn, but it only took 2 tries before we hit Rhyperior with Earthquake and just won the fight. I figure Flint can't be that hard, right? Third is Fire Trainer Flint. First is Houndoom, who's obviously a one-shot, and second is Infernape, who crits us, but it's just with Flare Blitz, so it's really not that bad. We one-shot him right after with Earthquake. Next is Flareon, and this could have been horrible, but he missed Will-O-Wisp, so we didn't get burned and just one-shot him. Magmortar hits a Flamethrower for decent damage before we one-shot him with Earthquake. And last is Rapidash, who just charges a Solar Beam that she never gets to hit with because we one-shot her. Yeah, I figured that'd be easy. Fourth is Psychic Trainer Lucian. Right away, we one-shot Mr. Mime, so Gallade comes out and hits us with an incredibly weak Leaf Blade. We took him out right after. Man, I was worried he was actually going to use a fighting move or something. Alakazam is next and goes for Focus Blast, and I'm sure it would have wrecked us, but it missed, and we one-shot it, so it wasn't that bad. Espeon hits Psychic for a decent little bit of damage before we one-shot it, and last is Bronzong. Right away, it was building up its special attack with Calm Mind as we hit really hard with Brick Break. Problem is, after we built it up twice, it crit a Psychic to take us out. Okay, that was pure luck of a crit. I'm sure we could win if we just try again. Okay, next try. This time, I had to heal against Espeon since we were getting pretty badly beaten up, and although it's still a one-shot, we had a lot less health going into the Bronzong fight, so I figured we might just be doomed. This time, though, he didn't crit and used his Psychic earlier, not doing much damage, so we could actually take him out. Well, that was lucky. Finally, Pokemon Champion Cynthia. First is Spiritomb, who's just a one-shot with a critical Earthquake, although I doubt I needed the crit. Lucario is next and hits Aura Sphere for massive damage, so although we take it out with an Earthquake, we're already at half health. Togekiss hits an Aura Sphere right after, so we're all the way down to only 41 health as we one-shot it. But next is Garchomp, and it's faster than us. Obviously, it just finishes us off. Alright, maybe if I top off at level 80, we could get a win on this one. I figure that just having more health could really change this. Man, this is brutal. I tried a handful more times at level 80, and I just kept dropping Spiritomb to a sliver of health, so I guess I did need the crit. Maybe 1 in every 10 Earthquakes one-shots it, but on every attempt where I didn't get crit by something, I took damage right at the start and it doomed me later. I'm gonna get 2 more levels, then we could for sure one-shot Spiritomb, and maybe that could get us farther into the fight. If we just could survive Earthquake from Garchomp, then we could get Slack off in. Then I think we could fight back and win. Okay, a few tries later at level 82, and we can one-shot Spiritomb usually with Earthquake. Lucario seems to always still use Aura Sphere, but we're taking a little less damage, and we still one-shot him. Togekiss also does Aura Sphere every time, as far as I can tell, so we're down to 103 health as we one-shot it. This time as Garchomp comes out, it actually misses a Dragon Rush, so we got to use Slack Off to heal. The second Dragon Rush hit, but it really didn't hurt that much, so as she kept spamming it, we just healed again. She ended up missing another Dragon Rush, so we got to hit it while still having a lot of health left, and thanks to it being a crit, we actually one-shot her. Melodic is next, and hits Surf for a bit of damage, but our return just one-shot it. And last is Roserade, who hit a huge Sludge Bomb and poisoned us, but we landed a one-shot so we survived. It wasn't easy, but it was a win. As brutal as they can be, I always enjoy doing these slacking runs. It's a fun challenge using a Pokemon that has amazing stats but a horrible ability. So I can't wait to do more slacking runs and more Pokemon games. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon White with only version exclusives. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments in the challenge request section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. Oh man, so much work. I did so much work in December and November, really. Sorry I haven't been streaming very much, and sorry especially that I haven't been streaming much Pokerogue. I know you guys have a lot of fun with that, and I definitely have a lot of fun with that. I really like that game. I feel like that game is a really great Pokemon battle training experience? I don't know, I feel like that game gets me better at Pokemon more than the challenges do, because I get to fight and use a really wide variety of Pokemon. Plus, it's getting me more familiar with like modern Pokemon moves, you know, stuff that didn't exist in the generations that I've barely played. I hope you guys enjoyed that I did my first ever Pokemon X run recently. I had a really fun time with that, and I'm looking forward to doing more Pokemon X runs in the future. But more than anything, I'm looking forward to streaming more, because I'm going to start having a little bit more free time to do that again, now that December's over. I definitely want to start streaming more of those Bethesda runs as well, because it's really fun going back to that. But, you know, time commitments and everything. So I'm going to be streaming some of that. I'm also going to be streaming some Pokerogue. I want to get back to Harvest Moon. I have so many things to get back to. I got to start another Crusader Kings 3 Let's Play at some point. Oh man, there's so much to do. You have no idea how many things are on my to-do list at a time. Can never quite get all of it done, but what are you gonna do, you know? It's a one-man show. I'm the host of the show. It's very difficult to keep up with everything, but it is what it is. I still have a really fun time with it. But speaking of being very busy, I gotta get this video edited. And I gotta get it edited as soon as possible, because the sooner I get this edited, the sooner I can put it up on Patreon, so everybody who's pledging at least $1 a month can get the video as early as I can get it uploaded and edited and all of that junk. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.